Paul, a historic win in June against England. What's been happening for the 16s since then?
Yeah, delighted. Few weeks away now, isn't it? But I think the immediate following of the game, the staff were pretty much working overtime from the day after. We started the whole game from attack and defence perspective, and we fed back to each player individually areas that we thought they performed well in, and areas that we thought they needed to keep improving on, so they could give some focus to that at their own training sessions and at their own community games, with a view to obviously looking forward to the next game. I mean, on reflection, the England game, the first one, our kind of target wasn't really to win, or there wasn't really any focus on a win or a loss. Our focus was more on the performance and how we could challenge the players to take what they'd practiced on the training field, what they'd learned, what they'd practiced there, and just to see if they could transfer it onto the pitch. And in the main, they were able to do it with some of it. And there was some stuff they did which we hadn't practiced at all, but I think that's the stage they're at in terms of the learning. You could see they were kind of thinking about what we'd practiced, and they were trying to put that into play. But yeah, it was good to get the win. That wasn't the outcome we're after, but we was delighted, and myself and all the staff, to see the celebrations at the end with the players and the parents as well. It was really satisfying to see all the hard work over the last few months come to fruition, and to get a win at home is great. But ultimately, the following Monday came, and that was genuinely all behind us, because Adam, our S&C coach, was in touch with them and sent out the S&C session for that week, and it was kind of old news. So all the lads were brought back down to ground pretty quick and told to forget about it and move on, and then focus turns to the next game. So we've had a couple of group training sessions as well. We've had two training sessions. The first one following the game was kind of a team review as well. So we reviewed the game as a team as well as kind of individually before that. And yeah, we're kind of practicing and trying to improve on a few areas where we thought we've got some improvement in us. So hopefully that stands us in good stead. And when we come to this next game next week, we're a little bit better.
Well, yeah, you've got that opportunity to put some of those things and those learnings into practice this week. Those may recall at the start of the year, it was due to be a game against England, or two games against England, and sandwiched in between the game against Scotland. It is Cumbria as opposed to Scotland this weekend. Just explain a little bit about how that came about and what sort of opportunity this is for the lads to play against a team in an area that's got a real passion for rugby league.
Yeah, you're right. The original game was scheduled to be with Scotland. And unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, they moved the goalpost on us slightly, which is disappointing, because we were looking forward to playing Scotland. And I think it's disappointing in two aspects. One, because we kind of knew about the game for the same period of time, and we planned and prepared a squad, and we assumed that was going on with those guys as well. But I think turns out they were just struggling with numbers in the end. Which is disappointing. And also, on the other hand, I think it'd be great to have Scotland as a fixture on the international calendar anyway from the 16s, because we've got Wales and England who we're always ready to play, and we do need England and Wales do need Scotland to be strong as well, and we also need Ireland as well, don't we? It gives the lads an extended calendar of games throughout the year. It gives them more variety of players to play against, places to go, places to see, playing in different environments. So yeah, it was disappointing, but I mean, we quickly moved on, and we reached out to a few other teams, a few other people we know that run other rep sides, told them that there's some availability of a game, and fortunately Lee Crooks was able to accommodate us with his West Cumbria squad. And yeah, I think also Crooks knows the value of the Wales boys playing regular games to kind of assist with their development and the learning of the game. So yeah, Lee worked pretty quick from his end to make sure the game was on and we got it over the line. And yeah, we're looking forward to playing Cumbria. Like I said, it's a hotbed of rugby league. You know, we know it in the north because, you know, the rugby league mad up there. So I've no doubt the squad they bring will be strong. Probably a little bit stronger on the field than what we would anticipate Scotland to be. But yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we're thankful for Lee and Cumbria for getting us out of a bit of a hole, because otherwise we wouldn't have had a game, and it would have been a big long stretch that between the two England games. I'm not entirely sure whether Scotland are going to turn out against England yet, but yeah, we're happy that we've got a game. So that's what we've been planning and preparing for the last few weeks.
Because it was such it was a historic win, only the second time an under-16s Welsh side has beaten England. You've spoken about some of the, I guess, skill-based things you want to see the players do, perhaps a bit better or differently to that England game as part of their development. Part of any development of an athlete is that skill, but also that mental side. And I guess having beaten England, they've become a bit of a scalp for this Cumbrian team. You know, so how much of that part of that this game is a test of the players' mindsets and attitude going into a game where they, you know, you'd presume they'd be favourites, which perhaps was the opposite to going into the England game.
You're right, and it's the first time in a long time Wales have beat England, and we're rightly proud of it because they deserved it. But like I said before, that's kind of old news now, and we need to move on and focus on the next job, which is this Cumbria game. And although the players are really proud and, you know, excited that they got the win, they also need to understand that, you know, they've still got a lot of improvement in them. And this squad at the weekend, you know, when we play Cumbria, we're still treating this as a development game. So, you know, there'll be some players that didn't perhaps play against England who'll feature, and there'll be some players that get much game time who we're hopeful will get more game time against Cumbria. So, yeah, I think the outcome will be the same. It's not about winning and losing this game. It's about, again, trying to put on the playing field what we practiced and you know, trying to get a performance which we're happy with, and ultimately trying to be a little bit better than what we were last time round. And that's the learning cycle for a lot of these players at the minute. You know, we're practicing, and then we're playing, and we're reviewing, and we're practicing again, and we need to play and review all the time. And that's how young players learn and get these experiences. So yeah, I've no doubt we'll be better than last time round. Whether we're where we want to be, you know, I don't know. You know, if we get to September in our next England game and we're not where we want to be, we'll be a little bit worried. But yeah, as long as we're a little bit better than last time, we'll be really happy with that.
I guess you touched on it a little bit there, that broader development and the pathway, and a bit of that went last weekend. You're down at Pyle RFC for a session. How do you view the overall sort of development and that the origin pathway? There's been some games in there since the 16s played England as well. Bit of continuity there now that wasn't possible because of COVID. Do you feel that that's gathering more momentum?
Yeah, I'd say it's 100%. Yeah, I mean, the pathway is really important to us because, and the men's senior team as well, because we need players coming through the pathway from, I mean, we were coaching under 14s last week, and they're not part of our squad, but we recognise the importance of doing some work with them nice and early with, you know, core skill stuff. So they kind of know what's expected of them when it comes to their trial and selection process. We also invited to the session, the under 14s development session last week. We also invited every community coach from every club and every age group, so they could come and observe the session, you know, with our Wales international coaches. They could observe the session. We could talk to them about what we was coaching and how we was coaching and why we was coaching, things that way, just to give those coaches a bit more of an understanding about the kind of technicalities of the game. And hopefully they'll take those back to their own community clubs and input some of the kind of theories and philosophies there, which hopefully then over time will create better players when it comes to, you know, us at under 16s in our selection process. But yeah, in terms of the pathway, you know, it is now, it does look genuine now, and you can see players moving through the different age grades. And you know, last year's under 17s team, a lot of them featured a couple of years ago for the under 16s. And now this year in 2022, a few of those players from last year are now in the under-19 squad who've got the European comp in Italy in summer. And it was really pleasing a few weeks ago to be invited by Brian Juliff and John Kay down to the men's first team session. And it was even more pleasing to see young Luke Thomas training. And to be fair to him, and I spoke to John Kay after, Luke basically trained himself into the matchday squad to play against France. Now Luke played under 16s rep rugby for Wales in 2019, and less than 3 years later, he's trained his way into the Wales men's first team squad, and he's got an international cap now already. And so that pathway is genuine. He's playing against seasoned Super League players there, like Morgan Escaray played, I think Benjamin Julien played, and a few of the other Catalan players. Ben Garcia, I think, started at loose forward and was captain. And for players now that we're speaking to under 14s and under 16 level that can see that genuine pathway to Wales first team level, it's not that far off for some of them. And in addition to that, obviously we've got the Salford Reds partnership and that kind of separate pathway, but it does also tie in. We've got Wales players now being offered professional contracts. So there's genuine pathway opportunities for top team Wales and potentially into Super League. And that's where we've been trying to get to for a few years now. And the games we play are just part of it. It's just a part of a kind of an ID and selection process, and just to see who wants to take up these different opportunities. And we have also, our squad in particular, got to be thankful to some of the board members of Wales Rugby League, because they support us with what we want to do, and they back us. And hopefully now, after a few years of going at it, they can start seeing the rewards, because players are genuinely coming through the system. Again, I mentioned that Wales first team session. There's a couple of other young kids in there that didn't feature in the game in the end, but I think Kyle Hewis trained, who played under 16s in 2019. Lewis Pinder trained, who is Wrexham born as well, and Lewis was part of the under 16s team in 2019, and then the under 17s team last year. So yeah, it's genuine now, isn't it? And it's a living and breathing pathway.